1 year ago, I was easily spending 2 to 3 hours a day on the inbox management. Today, it's less than 10 minutes. My executive assistant handles all of my inbox. She replies to 95% of all of the inbox herself and only brings me the 5% that absolutely need my input. I didn't hire more people, I didn't buy expensive software or lose my voice by doing that. All I did is implemented this 4-stage framework that I will show you in this video. Hi, my name is Bunin. I'm co-founder of Pareto Talent, where we replace executive assistants with entrepreneurs, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs struggling with the inbox management, thinking that it's number one thing that actually drives their business forward, which is completely not true in majority of cases. This is the number one thing I recommend to delegate immediately, and in this video I will show you how to do it using our proprietary framework. I see it all the time in entrepreneurs where they think that like inbox catch-up is a magic word that a lot of entrepreneurs use to justify them just sitting down and doing someone else's job. Because inbox, it's someone else's task that they delegated to you. So whenever you receive an email from someone, it means that they, in majority of cases, just didn't explore enough by themselves. So I see it all the time with the clients, for example. Let's say like we have a pricing right now on our landing page, and I will get an email from the client, hey, what's the price? What it means is that it was easier for them to just email it to me and get me to do the job for them versus them just opening a website, which again, in this case, it's understandable. I would still reply to this email because we have a chance of landing them as a client, but just doing that. But you will see a lot of examples like that where somebody else will offload their job to you. So what you can do is offload it to someone else, to your executive assistant. Today, I will show you our flow method, a 4-stage system that allows to progressively delegate your inbox to your executive assistant without losing deals, without losing your voice. I'm using it for the dozens of entrepreneurs in Pareto Talent, and all of them were able to successfully delegate their inbox management to an executive assistant without burning any bridges or losing any deals. Now, before we move forward, let me address an elephant in the room, something I hear a lot from all of the entrepreneurs I speak with. They're afraid that the executive assistant, by replying to the emails from their name, will do some damage to their business. This is why this framework was created in the first place. It's a progressive framework that allows you to minimize the risks and delegate your inbox in 4 stages, where you only move to the next stage if you're comfortable with the previous one. So that way you can build the trust and the rapport with your EA and ensure that nothing like that happens. Even then, what I hear from a lot of entrepreneurs is that like they sometimes screw up their own communication with the clients by misunderstanding something and replying. So this happens to everyone. We will try to minimize that with a proper framework though. So the flow framework starts with the F, which is the forward. So before you will let the EA inside of your inbox, you will first start forwarding the emails that you will want them to prepare drafts for. So your inbox usually consists of all of the spam, all of the emails that you don't need even to see, then emails that anyone can reply if they had enough knowledge, and lastly is the emails that only you have enough context for. So our approach in here will be to focus on this middle part, where we will focus on your EA replying to the things that they could reply to without you spending too much time on drafting the emails. So the way to approach that is that whenever you see an email that would need a longer reply, again, let's come back to the example of the client asking for a pricing, right? Your EA will have access to this information, so you can just forward it to your EA and say, hey, prepare me a quick email outlining our pricing options for this client, right? And then you just forward the email that you received from the client. Basically, during this stage, your EA is still primarily using their personal email address. So by personal, I mean like under your brand. So it will be like ea@yourcompany.com, right? You will forward emails to that address, and EA will then send you the replies back. So you just copy and paste them in majority of cases if the drafts are good. So the way it will look like is something like that. Once you're in your inbox, once you receive an email that you receive from the client and you feel like your EA could reply to that, you just click 3 dots, forward, and then send it to your assistant, in my case, Ampi, and then specify, can you reply to that, please? And then have your EA to draft your reply for this email, right? The other way to do something like that is to use tools like Shortwave, for example. So in Shortwave, you can add your team members and then even without me having an EA reply like me, what I can do once I have an email, I can add a team comment and assign it to my EA. So I can just add Ampi in here. I think she's using my account in here, so I can add Marika, for example, and have her reply to this email for me without actually delegating the email completely. So she will go ahead in comments, reply to that email and send me the draft, please. She will go in the comments in here in shortwave and prepare a reply so I can just copy and paste it. That's the stage one. This is when you're that's the stage one. This is where you are not confident in giving access to your inbox yet to your executive assistant. You just want to offload at least some of this communication. Once you are offloading at least 10 emails a day in this way, I would say you're ready to the stage two. Also, within this stage, you want to ensure that at least 80% of the replies that your EA generates are good to go without you making any edits. Then you're ready to move to the stage. The stage two in our flow framework stands for limited access. So within the limited access, you will provide access to your inbox, to your EA, allowing them to start managing the rest of the emails. Here's what I mean by that, is that once your EA is inside of your inbox, you will see again all of these different spam emails, all of the things that don't really need your input at all. So your EA will be able to jump in and start archiving all of that from your inbox, so it doesn't like disrupt your workflow, right? So it doesn't take any of the mental power from you whenever you open your inbox. Once they are doing that, the next thing they will be able to do is for this like 20% of the emails that can be replied by anyone, your EA will be able to leave you drafts in your inbox so you can just go ahead and send them. So within this stage, what your EA will do is that they will still be responsible for drafting and archiving, but not sending yet. So you're still not giving them full permission to just go ahead and reply to anyone. You give them permission to draft and to clean up your inbox. The chances of anyone messing up something significant in here are pretty low. So that still gives you all of the like keys so you can control everything and you decide on how to move forward with a certain email, because the drafts that your EA drafts, if they're like not perfect, you don't have to send them. You can just provide the feedback within the same like voice framework that we discussed, and your EA will be able to utilize that. And talking about the voice framework, I have a full video where I show how to clone your voice so your executive assistant can use that in order to send emails that sound exactly like you. You can check this out somewhere over here. So if we are talking about the actual inbox delegation and how to do that, if you're using Gmail, you just go to the settings over here, see all settings, and you have a couple of ways to do it. So way number one is to grant access to your account. So in here, you just go in and click that. If you don't see that button, you might need to go into your Google Workspace and set this setting up there, because I had clients where they don't see that button because it was turned off on the administrator level in their Workspace account. So something like that can happen as well, right? Okay, so once you've done that, you just in here go ahead and input your EA's email address, and then they will be able to manage the inbox as you. So they will have access and they will be able to send the emails on your behalf as well. That's a built-in feature within the Google. Here's, however, what I recommend to do. I recommend just to give email and password to your EA. That is much more straightforward, and to be honest, like it's easier, especially as usually I recommend to use tools like Shortwave for the inbox delegation. So in Shortwave, you can optimize majority of these things, but your EA needs to be logged in as you. So the way to achieve something like that is that go ahead, change your password for your account to some other password, something more generic, and then provide this password to your EA. Whenever you need to offboard an executive assistant or something like that, you change your password for the main account and you're like good to go. But that allows you to like use all of the other apps and allows you to save time on, again, your EA not having access to a certain document because you forgot to share it with them and things like that, because they're logged in as you, right? So in here, for example, in Shortwave, here's what my EA does whenever she prepares drafts for me. She creates these to-dos that are possible to do in Shortwave. And then if I open to-dos, I can see all of the different emails. Right now it's one email. If I open like review materials, I can see all of these emails in here in this to-do, and I can just go through that in my own pace, right? Or in here, again, I can see there is a draft prepared, so I can just go ahead and send this draft, right? That's again the power of the stage 2, is that you are still in control, you are still deciding what to send. If you are looking to stay in this stage 2 for a little bit longer, then what I recommend you to do is to build a full system inside of your inbox. So if we go back to the Gmail real quick, what you can do is create labels. So your labels can be like drafts to send, create. Then I will also name them as like 1, 2, and so on. So I can actually have them on the top, right? Then let's do urgent, and let's do reference. So that way your EA will be able to put certain labels on this thing. So now your inbox will be like, you will be able to keep it clean, right? So if I go back to like this email, for example, let's say we have a draft in here that are ready to send. What I can do, I can go to labels. I can just go and save it as drafts to send, and then I can archive it if needed. And then if I go to the draft to send, I will see this email in here. Once this email is sent, we just remove the label, and that's it. Same goes for the urgent, reference, and so on. And you can customize them nicely. So you can have your EA to choose like the colors. So for draft to send, let's say it's green. For anything urgent, it's obviously must be red. Red in here, and so on. So that's your way to kind of put everything in order if you're going to use the stage 2. However, what I recommend for a lot of entrepreneurs is to try not to stick in stage 2, but move to the stage 3, which is the ownership. So your EA owning your inbox. Here is how it works. Now that your EA is familiar with the emails that you get, now that they can understand what is spam, what is not spam, now that they've drafted the replies that you approved, the next logical step for them is to start sending these emails on your behalf. So what you want to do with your EA is to give them the permission to send an email whenever they're 100% sure that this is the right email for the right person, but still reserve the right for just leave this email in a draft, as if they are not sure, they can ask for your help, ask for a second pair of eyes, and just keep it in your inbox, so they are not risking any relationship breaks and things like that. So I recommend usually to create 2 lists for your executive assistant. So one list is like, hey, here's everything that you can reply to by yourself without asking me. Second list is that, hey, here's the things that you absolutely must keep as a draft and never send, right? So usually in your like left box, it will be like any sort of scheduling confirmations. It will be follow-ups with people after the call, pre-call follow-ups, and so on. It will be follow-ups with the vendors. It will be follow-ups with the team members on different projects, things like that. It also can be like low-stake responses or responses that are not transactional, not leading to any like sales or contracts and things like that. So even if your EA doesn't do something absolutely 100% properly, it doesn't risk anything. And then on the other hand, you will list out everything that your EA absolutely must ask permissions for. So for example, contracts, invoices. So for example, contracts, invoices, emails to VAPs in the company or older clients that have been with you for a while that you're still kind of managing yourself and cannot give away to anyone. And again, all of the agency owners will now understand what I'm talking about. Any strategic decisions, any, again, bigger problems, so any fires with the clients, things like that, you keep it as like drafts for a short term. So you still kind of checking this out. So it's not like your EA is not touching these emails. So your EA still reads them, your EA still drafts emails, replies for these emails, but they just don't send them yet. So then whenever you open, you just go through the most important emails that's already drafted and just send the drafts. One of the techniques that I have my EA use and I have my clients use as well is that whenever your EA has emails like that, where there could be like 2 replies. So for example, something I get sometimes is like people asking for a discount, right? And my EA is not sure whether or not we are going to provide discount or not. Like by default, the answer is no, but it depends on like what sort of a deal we got, right? So if EA is not sure which route to take, they what they do is they draft 2 replies. They go like reply A, reply B, and keep them in one draft for me, right? So I can say, okay, here's what my EA thought like reply number 1 could be, here's what reply number 2 could be. And then what I can do, instead of me like redrafting everything completely, I just delete one of the drafts. So if reply B was correct one, then I delete reply A. Here is the truth, is that your EA will waste twice as much of time on drafting this, but you will save twice as much of time, because you didn't have to draft a reply by yourself. You just used one of the ones that your EA provided you with. Another way for you to handle something like that is to implement a 3-question system. Here's what they are. First, you will have your EA ask, have I seen my entrepreneur send an emails like that before? So if you received some email that is a first in its own type and your EA never seen emails like that before, so don't know how to reply to them, then by default the reply is like, no, I haven't seen my entrepreneur reply to that, so I just keep it as a draft. I don't send this. The second question your EA should ask is that, is there a risk of me misunderstanding the email or my reply being off? If the answer is yes, then just keep it as a draft, like don't send it. And lastly is the question about the voice. So am I 100% sure that this email sounds like my entrepreneur? And if the answer is like, no, I'm not sure, then just don't send it as well. So your EA can run through these 3 questions if they're not sure. And you as entrepreneur, whenever you delegate, it's like your responsibility to provide this to your executive assistant so they understand that this is something I can do versus this is something I cannot do. Without you giving these guidelines, giving these like borders to your executive assistant, you will not be able to delegate your inbox efficiently. What I recommend during the stage 3 is for you to open the sent emails at least once a week and review them together with your EA for the first couple of weeks. So what it will do is that you will be able to have a full clarity on what was sent, and you can see what was slightly off, right? So you're not waiting for somebody else to point it to you. So not waiting for the client to like call you on your cell and say, hey, I got this email, which is wrong, right? What you are doing is that you are proactively jumping in and checking out what emails could have been written differently and then provided as a feedback to your EA. This is, again, the biggest problem I see is this break in the feedback loop. So some entrepreneurs just forget that they need to constantly provide feedback in order to grow and have somebody who's super confident in managing your inbox, who are not just, again, replying something based on like some GPT, but actually understand what they're doing. And now we're coming to the stage 4 of our flow framework, which is the watch from the above. So now you're completely off your inbox. So here's how it looks like. Now your EA will have full access to your inbox. They will clean up all of the spam. They will treat it basically like their own inbox. Then they will reply by themselves to all of the semi-important emails and will reply by themselves to 95% of all of the important emails, and 5% of the emails that are left, they will not like leave you drafts in your inbox. They will just Slack you, message you, or whatever your communication is with your EA. Usually in my case, it's just end of the day report. Like we have a quick call with my EA and then she just mentions, hey, 2 emails, I wasn't sure how to reply, this and this. And then right on the call, I can tell you like first one, no, second, yes, and whatever it is. And then your EA can just go like take it and run with this. So now with the stage 4, you technically don't even have to open the inbox. You can just rely on your EA handling everything, as you will know that if there is something super crucial that your EA doesn't know how to handle, they will just mention it to you by the end of the day, or will Slack you or will message you to get this reply. So you don't even have to read the drafts anymore technically. What you need to build in order to that working properly is some escalation rules, right? So what would be the escalation rules for your EA to bring this up to you, right? So usually it still will be some sort of partnerships deals, some sort of legal requirements, right? So if you're signing operational agreements and things like that, like you want to read the operational agreement. I usually have my EA run them through again ChatGPT and find out all of the like main points of operational agreement, well, like what was changed and things like that. So then I can understand if it's like ready to sign or if I need to reread it myself. But things like that will still require your input because it's still decisions that only you can make, right? So the stage 4 is all about the strategic decisions that you are the only one empowered to make and understand on how to move it forward. Because that's what you have to do as a CEO of the company, as a founder of the company. You have to give the direction and the strategy for the company. You don't have to stay within the operations all the time, because this is what prevents majority of entrepreneurs that I speak with from scaling, is that they think that, again, them growing company means that they will have not like 100 emails, but 300 emails, and then they just don't want that and they don't want to scale anymore. So they stay at this like self-employment phase without being able to build an actual thing that works, build an asset, right? But even then, I still get this question, like, what if my EA sends an email that's just completely off, that loses me a client? Then we need to go back and look into all of the stages that we took. So the reason why we took everything stage by stage is for you to provide the feedback and understand exactly what your EA replies to, and to then again tell them if something is off. So the way it works is that during the stage 3, your EA would have drafted hundreds of emails that you reviewed before sending. So you should have provided them with the feedback on like something is wrong, right? So if your EA just blindly jumps in and sabotages, like, hey, I will tell this guy to go and do something, then it's completely different discussion, right? We never had this happen. And again, I don't know, I heard anyone like had this happen, but it's completely different. But if your EA, again, just made a mistake, it means that something in the process was wrong, something in the feedback was wrong, or something in the rules was wrong, right? So don't blame this in person, blame everything on the system. You need to review the system, build a better system, and then come back. Because if your goal stays the same, so if your goal is not to live in your inbox, then it's not like, hey, I will just take my inbox back and I will manage it myself. No, you just need to build a little bit better system. Or the other thing I hear a lot is whenever entrepreneurs say that, hey, but I have like 2,000 unread emails and I receive 300 of them a day and it just won't work for me. This is like exactly why you need to do something like that. This is like exactly why I want to delegate that. It's not a like bragging point that I have like thousands of emails that like no one will be able to handle. No, like it's a problem. It's a real problem. Imagine that inbox is being like pieces of mail. Like I have a lot of these insurance cards and stuff like that on my inbox that like they send me every week. Imagine that your inbox has thousands of that. So your desk literally like flooded with the emails or mails from someone, and you are bragging about that. Like it's a problem. You need to get rid of all of that and delegate it to someone else so they will read that. That's why my wife never received mail. She's the first one to read that and see if that's anything important. She doesn't know that she's executive assistant yet. But just start delegating, just start getting rid of these emails. Whenever somebody mentions that they have 300 of the emails, what it means is that from these 300, probably like 20 or 30 are important ones. Everything else is all of the crap that you registered for throughout all of the times. And like you think that you're receiving a lot of the emails, but actual emails from the clients are like much lower amount. So now if you're ready to implement that, here is the roadmap that I would recommend you to do. So for the stage 1, I usually implement to spend anywhere from 1 to 3 weeks. So week 1, you will send your EA anywhere from like 3 to 5 emails a day. Then you will gradually increase that to like 5 to 8 to 10 emails a day and so on. The goal in stage 1 is to start getting in touch with your EA and start understanding the drafts that they prepare. Because if the drafts are completely off, it means that we need to voice on the voice a bit more. So the custom GPT that I have covered in the other video, you need to craft the voice better so your emails sound more like you, they have enough context, and the replies are generally good. So that's the full goal of the stage 1, is training your EA to start writing emails. So next, stage 2, usually it's another 2 weeks to 3 weeks time. During the stage 2, first weeks is usually just getting access to the email, ensuring that your EA can organize everything properly, ensuring they set up all of the proper labels, and you started reviewing the work that they do. So understanding if all of the emails that they archived could actually be archived, understanding if the drafts that they prepared are actually good, and that's why we have the stage 1 to like ensure that. And then if you see that, okay, they archive the proper emails and the drafts they write are good, this is where you will just move to the stage 3. So don't like keep or stay within any of the stages for too long. Just 1, 2, 3 weeks and you're done. You're ready to delegate further. Stage 3 can be a little bit longer. So stage 3 is the ownership transfer. In this stage, first your EA will just use like send as features and things like that if you haven't given them like the full inbox like straight away. Then they will start sending emails on your behalf, and all you do, remember 2 lists that I talked about, you increase the amount of the stuff that they can reply to and decrease the amount of things that they need your confirmation for. That way you will start offloading them more and more and more on the stage 3. And then once you see that they're doing a great job on stage 3, you just move to stage 4 and forget that you even have an inbox in the first place. Now that you fully understand the 4 stages of the flow system, go ahead and start with the stage 1 and delegate it to your executive assistant. If you don't yet have an executive assistant and understand the value of that, go to paretotalent.com and jump on a quick strategy call with us. We'll show you exactly how our trained, vetted, and managed executive assistants help entrepreneurs like you to save dozens and dozens of hours per week, ensuring that you can focus on your business and not just work in it. And if you found this information useful, go ahead and subscribe to this channel for more information like this, and I see you in the next one.